Hi, I am Ada Bobino, the founder and director of the San Antonio Black International Film Festival. And what we wanted to do with this panel, we're doing a panel on where we are gathering together different organizations who support, advance, have initiatives and programs that speak to Black women creatives, Black women filmmakers and creatives, as well as Black independent filmmakers in general. And so we've gathered together, we're gonna have different sessions that we will present to you, or we'll have 15-minute talks where they can pitch their organization to you, and you can go on and explore further and just take advantage of the offerings out here a lot of people don't even know about. So first we're gonna bring on, hello.
Hi.
Akima T. Moore. And Akima is the spokesperson. Are you on the board, or are you?
I am the chair of the programming committee for the board of directors for the Black TV and Film Collective.
Okay. So I'm going to bring you on to just basically talk about the Black TV and Film Collective.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. No, so basically just tell us, what is the Black Television and Film Collective?
Of course. So the Black TV and Film Collective, also known by the acronym BTFC, is a phenomenal organization that really does support the building of craft, the building of skill set, and the insertion of Black and diasporic creatives into the entertainment industry.
So what is your mission, and
sure,
some of the initiatives and the programs available to your organization?
So I joined the BTFC as just a member about 2016 or so, because I had heard of this amazing organization that was really helping creatives kind of not just network, but like work on their work. And I was so excited. And as I got involved, I realized what the BTFC is. Our co-founder, Haria Muhammad, is an amazing and very noted award-winning producer, director, writer. And she started this organization because she realized that there was no safe space that she had found that allowed for Black and diasporic creatives and filmmakers to come together and learn, but also grow, but also learn the game. And so she began to be, she was the co-founder of the BTFC. Our mission is to be a development and production hub for Black and African diasporic artists to create their work and build their skill set to have financially, here's the key words, right? Financially stable careers in the entertainment industry. We don't want to just give you a place to work on your work. We want to give you the skill set for you to grow and learn so that you can go into the industry and make a living. And I know that the BTFC was very instrumental in my ascent, along with other organizations, by helping fill in a lot of the blanks for me. And I am on the board because I have dedicated so much of my time, love, and affinity for this group. And now I'm able to take that and turn that over to other up and coming creatives. So it's a pretty dope place to be.
Yeah, and you are not only a board member, but you are a filmmaker and a creative yourself. So
I am.
They say don't what's that, be about it, don't, what is it, I don't know what to say.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
Right. I am a 2-time alum of the San Antonio Black International Film Festival.
Yes, you are.
And you guys have been amazing. And as a filmmaker myself, I know what these young filmmakers are doing. And I'm not just a filmmaker. I also direct and produce network television, studio film, and branded for large networks, companies, and brands. So I have not worked outside of producing and or directing in 5 years. When I left corporate America, I never turned back. Now, it was the beginning with some lean years.
Oh yeah, always.
But organizations like the BTFC consistently gave me opportunities to either trade sweat equity to learn and work on other projects or get fiscal equity for learning and working on other projects. So it's not just where I'm on the board and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I know what it is because I've been in those trenches. I've been broke. I've been like, oh, do I buy a Metro card or some cereal? Like I've been in that life. And I know what that's like. And the BTFC has absolutely been a support system for me when I'm between gigs. And now that I am in a more executive space in my career, they give me the amazing opportunity to pour back into up and coming creatives, and not just up and comers, but also peers and lateral colleagues, so that we can exchange ideas, we can exchange information, and we can continue to lift while we climb.
Mm-hmm. So what is the, mission statement or the mission? And I want you to talk a bit more about the founders, because you did mention they were filmmakers, and we typically we start things because there's a need. I started this festival because there was a need in San Antonio. But what was your mission? And let's talk a little about the founders.
Sure. So our co-founder, Haria Muhammad. If you're not familiar with her, she is the producer on the amazing award-winning film that is presently on IFC as well as Hulu called Farewell Amore. She has, in the last, I would say, year and a half, she's probably amassed at least 7 or 8 different fellowships, labs. She's everywhere. But she's also accessible to us, right? And she helped start this organization for the need, because of the need of wanting a safe space to learn and grow without judgment, without, oftentimes we get into this industry and people are only concerned with, do we know it? Or talking about the fact that we don't know it. They don't offer to teach it to us most time. And so it becomes a catch-22. You don't know it, so you can't get the job, but you can't get the job to learn it. So we bridged that gap. She saw that need, she filled that hole. And so as we've grown over the years, we started in about 2013, 2014. And in that time, we're now at a place where we're presently, I'm helping her run our first fellowship program. She was in the Sundance Producers Fellowship. She actually won the Sundance Producers Award last year. And she wanted to create a pipeline for these larger fellowships and grants and opportunities. So she wanted the BTFC to have something that could be a feeder program for those larger events. So this year we had our very first Black Producers Fellowship, which I am proud to say is 60-40 Black women. And our fellows have just completed production. They are all in post and wrapping up their films. We were sponsored by Cinereach and Wavelength. Each fellow got $25,000 to make their short. And we are so thankful to Wavelength and Cinereach and our in-kind supporters, Handheld Films, TCS, and Able Cine, for giving us in-kind and discounted support to the fellows to make that $25,000 stretch. Because it sounds like a lot of money, but when you're doing a project, that's really not a lot of money. So, the program has really grown, and this is our first fellowship where we were able to give 6 filmmakers $25,000 each to make their films. And they didn't just have the money, they had 2 months of modules before they got into production. And they each they came in with a co-joined director. Their director had a director and advisor. They had a producing advisor. And then they had modules with industry giants to learn everything, both the soft and hard skills of producing, so that they could go into the project. And now that they're wrapping up, come September, they have another month and a half of modules to close out the program so that this is our first, right? So of course there's a learning curve and there's things that we want to learn to do bigger and better for the next year. So we're going to do a postmortem with all of our fellows, and we're also doing postmortems with our vendors and our in-kind support and our sponsors, so that we can figure out how to make this even more grandiose for the next set of fellows. So we really do consistently feed into our people. Last week we did a really great event with the Emmy award-winning history-making editors of the Black Lady Sketch Show. Those women are the first. There's glass on the floor, ladies. Because those women have broken the ceiling and become the first Black women or women of color to be nominated for an Emmy in editing.
Wow.
And we did a panel with those women to talk about how they got there and how they do their work. And it was led by another amazing sketch comedy artist who is she works with a small network here in New York called Brick TV. She did their first late night talk show this season. Wow. So she moderated that panel with these so she made history, moderated this history making panel, and we had our fellows and our members and non-members were available to come and watch these wonderful things. So we do curriculum, but we also do one-offs that allow people to meet or interact or interface with, industry giants, but also people that teach them like the real game. Yeah. Not just, I did it and this is how, but maybe this is what you don't want to do. Maybe this, and we also pour into craft. We want to continue to put out craftsmen, not just creatives.
Wow. See what y'all missing? See why we have this? So where are you based, and are the filmmakers that you're selecting for your fellowship, do they have to be based in the city that you're based in?
No. So we are presently tangibly based in Brooklyn, in New York. Our headquarters are in the wonderful Navy Yard that also houses the amazing Steiner Studios. But we are East Coast. We're East Coast presently. However, we are prepping for the launch of BT about. And the West Coast side of things, we are presently working on building slowly but surely because of COVID. But we do have some of our board members are based on the West Coast, so we're able to branch out and have tangible things as things open up. But we know that right now it's a little sketchy. However, with COVID, we've been able to be so much more globally reaching by having people that tune into our panels and our events and our office hours and things like that from everywhere from the continent to EU to London, so we're able to really be very global right now. And we will continue to have a lot of virtual opportunities so that we can be a little more far reaching than just our tangible East and West Coast branches. But our fellows are not all out of Brooklyn. Actually, there's only, I think, 2 that are local. The rest of them are from Atlanta, LA, DC, Delaware, and then 2 are from Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Okay, so where can people? Because we're gonna be slowly winding down from this 15-minute pitch, but where can people reach you all, get a hold of you all, find out more information, resources, et cetera, et cetera?
Of course, they can find us online at blacktvfilmcollective.org, so .org. You can find us on Instagram at Black TV Film Collective. And, please reach out. We have a paid monthly membership that provides you opportunity to attend most of our one-off panels for free as a member. You don't have to be a paid member to take advantage of our events and opportunities. However, as a paid member, that minimal monthly membership garners you to take as many of the open opportunities as you would like. And then our larger opportunities are usually still discounted for members if it's something that has a bigger price tag. But we work very hard to provide a safe space to network, to grow, to inquire. We have office hours coming up. If you're interested in the BTFC or you have a project that you want some intel on, we offer office hours once a month, which are free. And you get 45 minutes to an hour. I'm hosting the next set in September. So you can look into our office hours where you can have 45 minutes to talk about what you need and ask for what you need and get advice and some guidance. And we also do bi-weekly writing dates where there's not really, you can get some feedback from your fellow writers, but it's a safe space for you to just come together and have the accountability to sit there and write the thing. So we have a lot of things that we're offering. And most of all, what we offer is a safe space to be you and create the work that makes sense to you without worrying about whose gaze you have to overcome or deal with. Just being able to allow us to be and to create with each other, for each other, by each other. And the BTFC is absolutely open and welcoming to all those that are interested. Please reach out and let us know how we can help you become a participatory, paid member of the entertainment industry.
Our 15 minutes is No, this has been wonderful. I mean, I wish I would have known about you earlier.
Well, you know about us now.
Well, now I am. Now I've drawn in because and I've heard of the Amor.
Farewell Amor.
Farewell Amor. I've heard of that film and I want to see it. I don't have Hulu. So if you don't have, you said it was
also on IFC, and now it also lives, I believe, on YouTube. So you can find it now that it's done with its theatrical release.
Oh, okay. I will definitely check that out. That would have been a good closing film this year.
I know. It's done so well. The director, Ekwa, is another.
I saw a preview and I was like, where can I see this? I want to see this.
No, IFC, it's on the IFC site. It's also on Hulu. But no, there's several places. If you Google Farewell Amor, then you'll find the website and it will tell you the different places that you can see the film.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the information. This is major, major, major. And everybody, please go on. And I'm going to put it up. Definitely check us out. Again, I thank you. And I wish you well on your next projects because I know
I look
probably
forward
every other year we're going to be seeing something from you.
I definitely look forward to submitting it to you guys once we shoot. And thank you for what you do for us independent filmmakers. I was so blessed to be a part of your festival, and I look forward to continuing to, do that and push people towards what you guys are doing because it's amazing. Please stay safe because, but thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Have a blessed rest of your week.
Take care.
Too. Bye. Good day. My name is Ada Bobino, and I'm the founder and director of the San Antonio Black International Film Festival, and we're so happy to host this year's SABIFF 2021 because we wanted to give you, our audience, our filmmakers, resources. We're specifically focusing on Black women this year, so we have put together organizations that empower Black women in particular, and filmmakers in general. Okay, so today I'd like to welcome to the screen Ebony Adams, and we are talking with Ebony, who is the manager of public programming for Women in Film, the LA chapter. So there are different chapters and she can talk about that. But Ebony is a writer and podcaster whose work foregrounds the lives and works of Black women in the diaspora. So perfect person to talk to today. How are you doing, Ebony?
I'm doing so well. Thanks so much for inviting me to be part of this.
Oh, we're happy to have you. So we're gonna do like a 60-second pitch where you can tell us about women in film, and then we'll go into the who, what, when, where, and why of it all. Okay, so you are on.
Excellent. Okay, so 60 seconds. Women in Film is for women and gender expansive people, and we are here to make sure that you are able to achieve the careers in the industry that you want, but also that you're able to sustain those careers. And we know that the only way that can happen is by transforming culture and affecting policy. So we do our work on a host of different levels, from advocacy, from social justice work, but also to our career development programs and our public programs. We are really about influencing and guiding the conversation. And we want you to know that there are resources for emerging filmmakers, mid-career filmmakers, senior executives. There's a place at Women in Film for everyone. And we also want you to know that we are focusing on the work and the careers of those who are most affected by white supremacy and bias. So that means absolutely elevating the work of Black women in particular, disabled women, queer women. We know that once we change things for those people who are at the bottom, who traditionally have been excluded, it rises all the boats. Everyone is going to be there. So Women in Film is all about transforming culture, and we do that through trying to achieve gender parity along all axes in the industry.
So
is that 60 seconds?
Yeah, you're good, girl. Not a game show where the buzzer goes off. But one of the things that to me is so powerful is your logo. You have a logo, advancing equity in the screen industries. Equity, that's a big chunk to bite off of. And so, what is your mission and some initiatives and programs that are available of women in film? And also, you are in LA.
Correct.
But I want you to talk about the
women in film chapters all over the world. But I specifically work out of the LA office and for the LA chapter. And it has been a delight to be part of this work. So one of the things that I like to start off by saying is that, there's something for everyone here, and there's something for you at every stage of your career. And when we say everyone, we do mean everyone. Women in film has been around since 1973. And the reality is that the first women, and still the vast majority of the women whose careers and lives we are able to help, are white, cisgender, straight women. And so we know that if we do not shift our focus and elevate the spotlight and the work that we do for women who are outside of those identity categories, then nothing truly is going to change. That the industry will continue to be the same old industry that has dismissed the stories and the genius and the creative potential of people outside of those white supremacist uplifted pedestal categories. And so we do this in a host of ways. We have advocacy arms, we have career development arms, we have communications public programming arms to really, as I said, advance the conversation. So I like to start by talking about the advocacy that we do. And one of the ones that I'd love to mention is our helpline. The helpline was formed specifically to address the needs of women and gender nonconforming folks who have experienced harassment, assault, abuse, mistreatment in the screen industries. And I want to start there because we know that we have lost the genius of so many amazing people because of the bad actors in the industry. And so we cannot talk about transforming the culture, transforming the industry, if we don't talk about all of the deep-seated problems that are actually there and offering support to the people who have suffered under those programs. So I encourage people to check out, WIF.org and find out more about the helpline, but about our other advocacy as well. We help produce think tanks. We produce curricula and syllabi. We are all about meeting decision makers and changing the decisions that are made, expanding the worldview of the people who are in charge of this industry, who have traditionally been guiding this industry. And so we have things like our Reframe initiative that we do in partnership with Sundance, in which, it is peer-to-peer, it is business-to-business, it is, us talking with decision makers to actually address the root causes of why women traditionally have been excluded from this industry, but also having a direct impact on the work of female filmmakers. And so there's so many things that we do along our advocacy line. Then our career development, which is something I'm so excited by, like the length and the breadth of it. We have things for emerging producers. We have programs for feature writers. We have programs for episodic TV directors. We have mentorship programs. We have programs specifically for women of color and gender nonconforming folks. As I said, we try to take like a global view of the issues within the industry and see how best we can affect those changes according to the particular roles someone has in the industry, according to the particular cultural needs that they have. So for instance, our mentorship program, pairing filmmakers with more elevated, more senior people in their fields to really offer honest perspectives and access, the kind of access that will actually change the course of their careers and help guide their creative process. Our feature labs, our episodic labs that we do in conjunction with the Blacklist, not just talking about it, but being about it. So, that there are so many programs for women of color in the industry, for women at large in the industry, but that perpetually leave us circling at the apprenticeship level. We want to get people out of that apprenticeship level. So in those labs, people are not only learning how to better their craft, but they're also being able to take meetings with representation. They're also able to meet with production companies. They're in conversation with and community with their fellow writers, their fellow, directors, their fellow producers, to make real, significant, tangible change. So it's just a host of ways in which we are working within and outside of the industry to actually make the changes that we're talking about to achieve gender parity in the screen industries.
You know what? I mean, be honest with you, I've been getting your newsletters and really have been drawn in because I've been seeing more so now than in the past programs specifically targeted to Black women.
Yes.
And you talk about the blacklist and all that. I was just like, go ahead, women in film, so
let me tell you about the Black Member Forum, okay? So the Black Member Forum was specifically designed to address the needs of Black women and Black gender nonconforming folks in the industry, okay? So as I said, there's a tendency, there's a pernicious myth that if you are focusing on one group, that means you are excluding another group.
Right.
And it's not even crabs in a barrel, but it's this law of diminishing returns, It's this understanding, this lie that we've been fed by white supremacy that if to focus on Black women, say, to focus on queer women means that you are dismissing all others. When what we know is that if you are doing the things that will elevate queer women, Indigenous women, Black women, you can't help but advance the cause of all women, right?
Preach.
That's one thing we will say. Look, let's also say that we have been in a position of fighting for so many scraps as Black women in the industry. It is long past the time that we receive some of the attention, some of the resources, some of the access, some of the connectivity, some of the cultural cachet, the think pieces, the academic works, the places on the film festival spotlight. It is past time for us to be the focus of those things, right?
Yes,
I apologize for that.
That is beyond true. You hit the nail on the head.
Right. So I don't regret the work we do with the Black Member Forum. In fact, I will shout it out anytime someone asks me about it. So the Black Member Forum is really a sort of umbrella initiative at Women in Film in which we offer spaces for people to connect. In fact, this week and next week, at the time of this recording, we've got networking mixers for writers, directors, and producers to share ideas, to meet, to perhaps find potential collaborators, to learn more about resources that are available to them. So we have, that social and development aspect, but we also bring in guest speakers for workshops, for master classes. And again, these are specifically for Black creatives, because what I want that emerging director who wants to get into episodic TV directing to talk to another Black woman who's working in TV to say, this is my experience. This is what I have learned. Here is how I have learned to navigate what's currently out there. And here's what I'm doing to make sure that perhaps you don't need to navigate the same things that I've had to do, so that when it's time for you to come up, things are different for you. Or if you're already at the position of working in the industry, how can we work together, so that there are more of us? There's none of this, I got to where I am and now I'm pulling the ladder up behind me. Mm-hmm. We know as Black women, no one will ever have our backs better, more fully, more deeply, more sincerely than another Black woman. And so the Black Member Forum is all about sharing that love. And it's all about making those connections. So people are able to find jobs through that forum. They're able to find creative partners through that forum. They're able to just find community. We have writing groups that meet regularly. We have directing groups, that meet regularly. And what's important is that, and what's a new, sort of effort within the Black Member Forum is forming a strategic committee that is then going to really advise WIF as a whole. So the work that we're doing in the Black Member Forum cannot simply stay within the Black Member Forum. It needs to inform the larger work of Women in Film. And so if there are conversations coming out of the Black Member Forum that, need to be given a wider stage, that's something that absolutely has to happen. So we're making sure that conduit exists. But yeah, I mean, we have hosted amazing writers, from TV and film, and not just, creative discussions, but we've hosted conversations with, Black lawyers and, executives, really talking about the realities of being Black in this industry and pitching a TV show, getting a film greenlit. What happens after your show is greenlit? What's the process like? What are the contract, minutia that you need to be aware of? We're all about taking care of our Black members in the best way that we can.
Well, I mean, that's so important, the connection with industry folks, because one of the things is that there's usually not a door that's open for an aspiring producer, writer, director, editor to go through. There's not like a mentor. So, I mean, I think that pairing people with industry professionals is critical. It's critical for us, our entry into the system.
It really is. And, I am well aware that, as Black women, we are often called upon to do either official or unofficial mentorship all of the time. So much responsibility is placed upon us. And we, eagerly, we, sincerely take on those responsibilities, but we're busy too, right? And so you find that you will ask someone to do something, a sister in the industry, and, she's like, I'm already meeting with, 17 people, but I'm going to make time for this. And the connections are so real. It's rare that people don't come out of one of our events with the email address of someone that they would never have had the opportunity to talk to before, and some guidance. And, sometimes the guidance is long-term and there are, relationships that are going to last years coming out of that. And sometimes it's just a quick coffee or, a couple of emails that you share. But again, we're not about getting people into a holding pattern where they are always at the assistant level, where they are always trying to break through. We are not doing our job if we are not trying to find ways to help people progress in the industry and get them into those middle positions, get them into those senior positions, because once they're there, we know or we trust that they're going to bring up more people.
They're supposed to, they better.
Exactly.
So hashtag vote for her, reframe, hire her back. For your consideration, helpline for those who have sexual harassment, all that is wonderful to even have up, especially in Hollywood. Think Tank for Inclusion and Equity Research, and then there's a Sundance Inclusion Resource Map. So those are some of the things that you will find in the website. Make sure that you go to the website and check it out. Can you talk about how people can get involved in the different cities, or should they go to what's the difference between getting involved with women in film, period, on the national level, as opposed to your individual cities? How does that work?
Right. So it really is, a sort of, community of chapters as opposed to. And I would say, if you were interested, if you were in a city and you're interested in learning about whether there's a Women in Film chapter in your city or nearby that you can be affiliated with, just Google Women in Film Vancouver, Google Women in Film DC, Chicago, Atlanta, etc. And you will often find that there already is a chapter there. The name might be a little bit different, but it's the same, sort of parent organization. So for instance, in New York, it's Women in Film and Television. Here in Los Angeles, it's Women in Film. But note that you do not have to live within that city to be part of that chapter. We have members who live abroad, who live in, Europe, who live in Africa, who live in Asia, and who participate, especially now that things are virtual, in our events, who are able to take part in our programs, regardless of where they live. So yeah, just absolutely go online and Google to see if there's a Women in Film chapter that's near you. And also, I would say, don't let Women in Film be your only stopping point. We are, partners with, we are sisters with so many other great organizations. One that I love to shout out, for instance, is Brown Girls Doc Mafia. If you are serious about being part of this industry, it behooves you to find out who is doing work in the industry, who's talking about the issues that I care about, who is, offering resources, continuing education, who's offering whatever I need to get to where I want to be, you know, who do I want to be in community with? And you will only serve yourself better if you are taking part in, you know, organizations that are specific to perhaps your field. So maybe it's Black women in post-production, or, you know, it's Black women doing documentary filmmaking. And in addition to organizations like Women in Film, you know, where we are able to take a kind of, I don't want to say more expansive view, but we have a wider focus, and we focus on women, you know, behind the camera, in front of the camera, sort of as a whole, you know. But the thing that we want you to know is that there are people out there doing the work, and they want to find you, and they want to help you. So do the you know, the initial research, you know, discover who we are, and get involved. And I would say also that there are, you know, there's so many ways you can become involved. And if you're worried about like cost, for instance, you know, we do membership waivers. You know, there are often programs that involve some sort of like, you know, scholarship, or as I said, a waiver to get you into it. So don't let cost be something that holds you back. If you are a Black creative and you're interested in learning more about women in film and attending our Black Women Perform events, please reach out to me. You know, we have space under our umbrella. We have space in our family, and we want you to be part of the family.
Okay, my alarm was going off, but you hit all the key points and everything. So I want to type in how they can reach you. What is your email address, or is there a specific address?
Yeah, it's eadams at WIF.org.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat window. Yeah, eadams at WIG.org.
WIF.org, yeah.
That's okay. And the website, again, I'm going to put that up, is womeninfilm.org or WIF.org.
Yep.
So make sure you all check it out. The resources are phenomenal. There's a lot to learn in this business, and it's best to have a mentor or someone to connect to. So they provide you with those resources, with those programs, with those initiatives, Women in Film. So thank you, Miss Ebony Adams. You are a spokesperson, girl.
I will talk about Black women in this industry until the lights go off. So please, if you're interested in learning more, if you just want to talk about being a filmmaker in the industry, you know, hit me up. You saw my email address. I'd be happy to chat with you.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. We appreciate the time that you've given us. And we hope that from this, you get more folks chiming in. And
yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you again. Have a good rest of your week, Ebony. Appreciate you.
Sarah. All right, take care.
Bye-bye. Hi, I am Ada Bobineau, and I want to continue our conversation with an organization out of New York City. But they do amazing things nationally and have done over the last 40 years. So today we're going to be talking with the executive director of Black Public Media, BPM. And I'm going to bring on the executive director, Leslie Fields Cruz. How are you?
I'm good, Ada. Hi, how are you? So glad to be here.
I'm so glad you could make the time for us today. There's just so much that you all have been doing over the years. So we're going to do our pitch session, our little 15-minute pitch session, but you got, not the whole, we're going to break up the 15 minutes with questions. But I want to first start, Leslie. You all were initially called the National Black Programming Consortium. Mm-hmm. So I do want you to talk about that, but just tell us a little bit about who you are and what are some of the things that you do with Black public media.
Sure. So we were founded in 1979 as the National Black Programming Consortium by a number of Black producers who worked at public media stations. And they basically were frustrated because they wanted to make sure that their stories were reaching other stations around the country. So they launched NBPC, that's what we called it, National Black Programming Consortium, and it was initially headed by Mabel Haddock. She was the founding executive director. And the organization, they ran a festival called the Prize Pieces Film Festival. It ran all the way up until 2004. Then I think it was I have to think about it, 1900s. It seems like it was so long ago. In 1991, they launched a funding program. And so they began to fund documentary program content. And Daughters of the Dust actually was one of the first projects that they funded. And so that continued on. Once Mabel Haddock stepped down, Jackie Jones came on as the executive director. And that's really when the organization started to move into digital media. And we started to support the development of work specifically for, well, at the time they called it the web, but the internet and content that was streamed. And then in 2014, Jackie stepped down. And at that point, I had been with the organization for some time. And so I was appointed the executive director. And we decided that to become a little bit more contemporary, that we would rename the organization Black Public Media. And we had already had a website. We had a presence as Black Public Media. That was the name of our website. But we said, you know what, let's just go ahead and become Black Public Media. So that's what we did. And since then, all of the different programs, we continue to fund content, stories about the Black and global Black experience. We've launched a series called Afropop, the Ultimate Cultural Exchange, that is broadcast and streamed on public television. We have a new emerging media initiative called BPM Plus, and that really is along the vein of what Jackie started when she said we need to make sure that we are keeping up with the technological changes that are happening around us, and that we want to support makers who want to create content in these spaces. So our BPM Plus program supports makers who are interested in VR or AI, XR content. And then we actually try to make space and opportunities for makers and distributors and funders to come together. So we created the Black Media Story Summit, which is there's a national summit and a regional summit. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. We fund, we distribute, and we convene, and we do a lot of professional development for Black media makers.
So what is your mission as it relates to the underserved in media? And
well, our mission is to, let's see, the formal version of our mission is we're supporting the development of Black content so that underserved and underserved audiences have access to authentic stories about the Black and global Black experience, right? And it's also around our democracy. We want to make sure that we're supporting creating audiences that understand this world and can be better citizens in their choices. So that's sort of the underlying mission, or the mission of Black Public Media. And we do that through our funding and our professional development and distribution of content.
Now, you all have done some awesome things. This it's one thing to talk about it, but y'all are about it. You're really about the business of really advancing the lives of filmmakers through exposing their works, through funding. Can you give us some examples of some of the projects or people who you've funded and what they've gone on to do? I think that's important to kind of have a stamp of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned, Daughters of the Dust, Julie Dash. We funded her film, and now, Julie Dash is a well-known filmmaker, and she continues to make amazing work. Stanley Nelson, who is the founder of Firelight Media and now also has the Firelight Media Lab. Black Public Media was one of the early funders on several of his projects. The Black Press. We supported. Oh my God, of course I'm always like, what are the titles again? Because there are so many, right? Thomas Allen Harris, we've supported some of his early work, and we continue to support his work. Michelle Stevenson and Joe Brewster, we support their work, and we continue to support their work. So in some respects, the talent that comes through Black Public Media, we're there in the early part of their careers, funding some of their first films, their first, either it's a short or it's their first documentary, long form documentary, feature documentary that they're making. And then oftentimes we're there mid-career and on. We really I like to say that, you become part of the BPM family, and it's pretty vast and it's pretty wide. And I'm proud of the makers that we have funded.
Yeah, I mean, you all have, I sat in on the pitch session winners. That was awesome. Can you talk about that? Because that's coming up, isn't that the pitch open
Our
call?
Pitch Black Forum. So yeah, so we have
talk about that.
okay. So we have is a Pitch Black Forum, and it used to be tied directly to our 360 Incubator, which happened every other year. I'll tell a little bit. The 360 Incubator is our professional development program for makers who are developing content. You apply, you get in, you're paired with a seasoned maker, an experienced maker who serves as your mentor. You have workshops, and there's we give you some support dollars up to $5,000, so you can work on your pitch reel, or if you need to go out and shoot a little bit more so you can strengthen whatever you have. And then you go to the Pitch Black Forum. And Pitch Black Forum is the opportunity for you to pitch your story, not just to public media, because Black public media, we are very much connected to U.S. public television, PBS, right? So we have people, our jurors, who listen to your pitches, and then they go in and they deliberate and they make recommendations as to which projects we should fund. But we also want to make sure, because we can't fund all of the projects, we open it up and we invite others from the industry to listen in and watch these pitches in case they're interested in any of these projects, and if they're interested in the makers, because it's also about exposure. We want to make sure that even though we're funding your project, we're actually investing in you as a maker, which is one of the reasons why the 360 Incubator has all of these professional development workshops involved with it. We decided going into 2022 that we wanted to put Pitch Black on do it annually, because we also realized that some of our seasoned makers and mid-career makers, some of them are developing projects and they need to get the word out. They need some visibility about those particular projects. So we've tied this year's Pitch Black to the open call. And our open call is open to anybody. You can be working on, a project, whether it's at R&D or in production, or you're seeking funding for post-production. And then projects they will be awarded funding through our open call. I want to say between $10,000 and $50,000. I have to ask Denise Green, who's our head of programming director at Black Public Media. But then we will offer those producers that win secure funding from the open call will be invited to pitch at our Pitch Black. And they will join. We're going to select others who we've already funded that might also still be seeking support to join Pitch Black and be at Pitch Black.
So this is national.
Yes.
Filmmakers that are in the United States only.
In the United States, we've had, some people, because we're based in New York, some people are like, is it just for New York? No, it's not just for New York makers. Those that have participated in Pitch Black have come from Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, North Carolina, California. Let's see, I think we had somebody, Illinois. I'm sorry,
DC, I think DC was in there.
I think DC,
yeah.
Yes, DC, Maryland. So literally, we want to make sure that, that we're supporting the diaspora of makers that are here in the United States. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I'll add about Pitch Black, last year in 21, we added what we call the BPM Plus showcase. So for makers who are working in VR or XR, AI content in sort of the new technologies, this is an opportunity for you to. We wanted to give them similar exposure to the technology community and those who are interested in this type of work. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to now Pitch Black actually. Is both sort of the traditional media that we know, and I would say streaming media now is traditional, right? And broadcast, right? Mm-hmm. As well as the emerging media, the VR and XR content and AR.
I mean, what I love about y'all, you're unapologetically Black, by born about Blackness. You have things that the 360 degree incubator is that intensive 3-month incubator is amazing. Because the project funding is $150,000. Having started my first film with $5,000, which, by the way, I got completion funds from the National Black Programming Consortium, which is, you all. to finish my first project, but I started that baby with $5,000. So to have a project funded, up to $150,000 is pretty awesome for an independent filmmaker.
Yeah.
That's life changing to get started.
It is. It really is. We do feel that for a lot of the makers that go through the incubator and through the Pitch Black, that in some respects it is life changing. They really their projects are made. From our first round, we had a project, My Africa Is. We ended up picking it up for Afropop. Our series, because it was well done, but the filmmaker Nosa Garrick has gone on, and she continues to work to this day, and she's been producing on various projects, and going around the world.
Did she go to Africa? She went to Africa with that project. I mean,
yeah. Well, she's a Nigerian American, and she had that project idea. She actually had started it as a web series, but she wanted it to be a broadcast. And so she came through our program and she created a 30-minute really strong piece. And we picked it up and we showcased it on Afropop. And,
wow.
And she went on, she was trying to raise additional dollars because she wanted to make it a much, broader series. But I think there were a lot of other people who were knocking on her door because they needed her. So she went off to do that. But who knows? I haven't talked to Nosa in a while, but she might end up coming back with the series, because there's definitely a need for more content, and definitely a need for as many diverse Black stories as possible.
That is the key point. Diverse Black stories from Black creatives. So you have the emergency relief funding, you did the discretionary funds, and then you have Christian is it Uboldi Fellowship?
Ogbode, Nonso Christian Ogbode Fellowship. Those are for our creatives who are 30 and under. And we named it after Nonso Christian Ogbode, who was our first digital media director. He was the one that kind of set us along this path of, content that's made solely for streaming and using content to engage in conversations with people. And unfortunately, he passed away at a young age. And so we decided he started the digital media open call. And so we just decided we would rename it and we would create a fellowship. And it's specifically for those who are in between the ages of 21 and 30 who are developing pieces for web or emerging media platforms.
So the other thing is just did you say where you were based? Yeah, so where you're based.
We're based in New York.
In New York City. And then what are some plans you have in terms of upcoming events or programming or fellowships and resources that you can share with our audience?
Well, I mean, first, we're all still trying to figure out, are we quarantining? Are we not? Are we going to be out in person? We are looking at Pitch Black Forum to be a hybrid event this year. We're keeping our fingers crossed that it will be hybrid. So some people will be able to come into the studio and be with the makers as they pitch. But if you can't, we'll be able to get you in online. You'll be able to access online. We are interested. I'll talk a little bit about our Story Summit, the Black Media Story Summit. We do have regional story summits, and we held one in Houston in the past couple of years. Houston Cinema Arts, they were the partner for it. But the Story Summit is really an opportunity to convene media makers and others locally who are invested in the development of Black stories. And we connect it to social justice organizations, because we really do want to make sure that that stories coming out of our communities are being told by people from our communities. So the Story Summit is something that we're always looking for partners in different parts of the country. If you are interested in the Story Summit, you should reach out to us, and we have a whole toolkit that you can use, and the partnership includes some funding support, so that to help you bring in the people and have a convening, and really to talk about how do you strengthen the community so that more Black stories can be told and more Black stories can be distributed. Let's see, what else are we doing? We also have a partnership with the Museum of African Diaspora in San Francisco. It's a public screening partnership. We provide, or we have content that's available for free on public media. And you know, you can go and watch the content, and then if you register at MOAD San Francisco, you're able to sit in on a conversation with the film's director. So I think the next, let's see, next one coming up is September. I'm so bad with dates. But it's with the filmmaker who made Neutral Ground, which is available on POV, and you can watch that.
One thing I really appreciate with you all is you all do great partnerships, and I think that is one of the things that helps any organization grow. I mean, you all partner with SABIFF, our first inaugural event, where you provided us with programming for your 40th anniversary. So that was awesome. So you all do some wonderful partnerships, and just connecting filmmakers, connecting people, connecting resources is just awesome. Is part of what you do. So where can people get in touch with BPM, and if they're interested in joining our memberships or finding more information, where they will?
Sure. Well, you can always go to our website, www.blackpublicmedia.org, and that's where you'll find all the information about what we do, about Afropop, about the open call. If you're interested, the deadline is October 1st, so you should go on and click and get the information on the guidelines if you want to submit. Let's see.
Is that annual? Is that annually every October 1st deadline?
No.
Okay.
It's because we do the 360 Incubator 1 year and then the open call the next year. So we in part because it's a heavy lift. It's a lot of work around the incubator. And we're a small but mighty organization. I work with an amazing group of people that really make this organization do what it, support its mission. But we are small. If we had a whole lot of people, we could probably have an incubator every year. We have an open call every year. But money is money, and if we got to do what we got to do. So we have the incubator 1 year. We do the open call every other year. So it's kind of like incubators in the odd years. Wait. Yeah, open calls in the even years, because we'll make the final decision in 2022. So, but yeah, so that's how it would work. So if those of you, if you missed this year and you're interested in the incubator, then there will be an open call, or there will be a call next summer for the incubator. And for those who are working in emerging media, there's we have partnerships with MIT's Open Doc Lab. We're working on a partnership with the Carson Center. Fingers crossed that that's going to work out. And so you'll have an opportunity. It's a fellowship, so there will be some funding support for the project, but it's also an opportunity for you to network and connect with other peers that are working in emerging media. So it's really exciting, and we're really happy about it. So yeah, but go to www.blackpublicmedia.org and you can find out all that information.
Well, Leslie, thank you. So that was 15 minutes goes by very quickly. I'm like checking the clock. My alarm didn't go off, but I see that we're there.
Okay, all right, that's good.
But I appreciate this time, and just a very important organization. I really wanted folks to know about, especially in the South. I think you all are more popular in the North and New York area, so a lot of Southerners and people from around the world. Of course, this is international this year, so we want to get information out. And even if you're international and can't apply, you need to check out the website and check out some of the things they do, because they bring international things to their helm with Afropop and a lot of the films that they have accessible.
Absolutely not. And what I will say, for our Afropop series, we do take projects that are made from the outside. So if you have a finished project that you want to find distribution in the United States, Afropop might be the opportunity for you to do that.
Yeah, and you have some great stuff. And a lot of times, I mean, that's the beauty of film. You may not be able to get on a plane and afford the hotel, the travel, whatever. But if you go to a film can bring you there.
Yes, it can.
It can bring you to different parts of the world, to subjects that you are unfamiliar with. It can teach you history, culture. So this is some serious work we're doing here. So
yes, it is, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's why
people realize the seriousness of it and the importance of it.
No, they don't, and that's why I'm thankful for you, Ada, and for SABIFF, because we really need to make sure that the content has an outlet. I think sometimes with the, if it's streaming, whether it's on PBS or Hulu or Netflix, that's a lot of noise, right? And sometimes we need to have these festivals, our community festivals that are out there finding the best content and bringing it into our community. So I'm thankful for you and the work that you're doing at SABIFF.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we are gonna call it an end now. Call it a cut.
Okay.
But you have a great rest of the week. Continue doing what you do, and I hope that this stream will get folks to come into your website, to getting information and resources to help them advance their careers. Really,
that's great. I appreciate you inviting us and having us on, and we'll make sure that we promote SABIFF so we can drive people to you guys as well.
Thank you. Take care.
Right.
For the rest of your week.
Take care.